Have you ever been at work and thought, why am I always left to finish all the cleanup? Is there a particular person or group of coworkers that really grind your gears? Have you ever witnessed or participated in a verbal fight with a boss or coworker? Do you dread having to clock into work because the environment is unnecessarily stressful? Hello everyone, my name is Colin Myers and I'm here to discuss conflict in the workplace. This video was made for my college class and is meant to be an educational public service announcement. For the next few minutes, this video will define what true conflict is, highlight the causes of conflict in the workplace, and how to manage or resolve conflict to foster collaboration. First, why did I choose to focus on conflict at work? Unless you're one of the lucky few who don't have to work, many Americans have part-time or full-time jobs and careers. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, more than 20% of Americans work more than 49 hours a week at one or more places of employment. With so much of our time spent at work, work is fundamentally tied to our livelihood, whether we live to work or work to live. More importantly, we all could have different perspectives and attitudes about work. Some we may not be consciously aware of. When someone else seems to be keeping us from achieving a goal, conflict can occur. Interpersonal conflict, a conflict between a small number of people, usually two, is defined as the struggle arising from perceived interference with goal achievement. In the workplace, an individual's goals may relate to the tangible resources, substantive goals, how things should be done, process goals, and who the parties are to each other, relationship goals, or one's sense of self, face goals. Before we continue, it is worth stating that conflict is an inevitable and integral part of life. Conflict can be invigorating in good and hurtful ways. In the workplace, competitive and cooperative conflict management systems exist side by side, and when properly managed and incentivized, conflict can lead to developing new products and innovative ideas. However, the cost of poorly managed conflict is high for both employees and their employers. There are significant costs that are attributed to conflict, including the monetary value of wasted time, lost opportunity, lower motivation, decreased productivity, absenteeism, conflict-incited theft, and physical or mental illness. Studies in 2003 found that nearly 1/6 of all U.S. workers experience bullying in the workplace. The effects of conflict or bullying in organizations may include lack of productivity, stress, absenteeism, health issues, decreased self-confidence, poor work relationships, customer service, erosion, increased turnover, a tarnished company reputation, legal actions, and sometimes violence. Every workplace possesses its own culture, and every new employee must learn the formal procedures and unwritten rules that define how the employees function and behave towards each other. These unwritten rules are the norms for the workplace, and without proper communication, conflict is most likely to occur when an employee breaks normative behavior. For an example, the behavior of checking one's cell phone at work may be impermissible for a waiter or server with a view of guest dining at a restaurant. Or, snacking at one's desk in a cubicle may or may not be permitted in the office while on the clock. More than anything else, communication is the most important contributing factor in preventing and resolving potential conflict. Unmanaged employee conflict is the largest reducible cost in most organizations. In a simplified approach, there are two steps to resolving conflict in the workplace. First, the needs of the individual or group must be made known. If you're the employee involved in the conflict, change your perspective for a moment and ask, what is it that they want and I want? Second, assess whether those needs can be met. If the conflict can't be resolved easily, negotiate to have a third party or management mediate between yourself and your coworker. Use constructive behavior to kindly express your emotions. Reach out and reflect on the situation after some time has passed, and come up with a solution. Negative behavior can run rampant if conflict goes unchecked for too long, and it can come in the form of backstabbing, shouting, gossiping, being aggressive or angry, sulking, and withdrawing from work altogether. If the needs of the individuals in a conflict cannot be fulfilled, and the conflict has escalated to a level where it is either too difficult or even dangerous to communicate, it is important to solicit a mediator as soon as possible. Second only to communication, we must all be compassionate. There's a reason why the Golden Rule permeates society on the whole. I'll leave you with the words of Karen Armstrong from her TED Talk in July 2009.
For years, I've been feeling frustrated because as a religious historian, I've become acutely aware of the centrality of compassion in all the major world faiths. Every single one of them has evolved their own version of what's been called the Golden Rule. Sometimes it comes in a positive version. Always treat all others as you'd like to be treated yourself. And equally important is the negative version. Don't do to others what you would not like them to do to you. Look into your own heart, discover what it is that gives you pain, and then refuse, under any circumstance whatsoever, to inflict that pain on anybody else. If we don't manage to implement the Golden Rule globally, so that we treat all peoples, wherever and whoever they may be, as though they were as important as ourselves, I doubt that we'll have a viable world to hand on to the next generation.
How we conduct ourselves at work carries into our private and social lives. Consider how you feel after a solidly good week on the job. That positivity often keeps its momentum throughout the weekend. When people of all different persuasions come together, working side by side for a common goal, our differences melt away and we learn to live together and get to know one another. There are no limits on what we can achieve through peaceful cooperation, and that's why we must strive to keep conflict in the workplace constructive.